The bounty hunter named Rin was used to danger. He had chased smugglers through asteroid belts, fought pirates on dying moons, and even brought down a war criminal hiding in a black hole's shadow. But nothing prepared him for this mission. His target was not just another alien fugitive. She was something different, something dangerous, and now she was sitting beside him in a burning ship, both of them crashing through the atmosphere of an uncharted jungle planet. Alira, the alien woman in chains, didn't speak at first. Her skin was marked with glowing patterns that shifted with her mood. She stared at the flames around them, unfazed. Her species, the Zevari, were known to be cold, precise, and deadly, but this one Rin could already tell was not like the others. When he had captured her, she didn't resist. She just whispered, "They'll come for me." And now here, they were falling from the sky with no one coming. The ship hit the ground hard. Metal screamed. Smoke filled the cabin. Rin unbuckled himself and kicked the hatch open. Trees taller than buildings loomed above them. Alien birds screeched overhead. The crash had torn their location off any radar. No rescue, no backup. Just the hunter and the hunted, stranded on a wild planet. He turned to free Alira. Her hands were still bound. She raised her head and looked him in the eyes, her voice calm. "You shouldn't have brought me here, human. This place, it wakes things." Rin didn't reply. He was already scanning their surroundings. His instincts told him they weren't alone. The jungle was too quiet, like it was waiting. He took out his pulse rifle, then paused. He couldn't protect them both with her in chains. With a sigh, he unlocked her cuffs. Alira didn't run. Instead, she stood, stretched her arms, and gave him a strange look. "That's your first mistake," she said softly. "But not your last." They walked through thick vines and glowing plants, searching for shelter. The air was heavy with moisture. Creatures moved in the shadows, unseen, but clearly watching. Rin knew they needed fire, shelter, food, and answers. Alira didn't act like a prisoner. She walked with purpose, pausing now and then to touch the trees or listen to sounds he couldn't hear. She seemed to know the jungle, even though she claimed never to have been here. As the sky turned purple and night approached, they found ruins, old stone-like structures covered in moss, carvings that pulsed with soft light. Alira stopped and placed her hand on one of them. It responded, humming beneath her touch. "What is this place?" Rin asked. She didn't answer right away. Then, she whispered, "Home. Not mine, but close." That night they made camp in the ruins. Rin kept watch. Alira sat by the fire, staring at the stars. She wasn't the cold killer the reports described. There was sorrow in her eyes, something deep and buried. Suddenly, a distant roar shook the trees. Rin stood, weapon ready. Alira rose too. She wasn't afraid. "They're awake," she said. "The old guardians. Who are they?" Rin asked. She turned to him, her glowing eyes serious. "You brought me here to capture me, human. But now you'll need me to survive." Rin tightened his grip on the rifle as the sound echoed again. The roar didn't belong to any ship, beast, or machine he knew. It came from something older, deeper. The jungle didn't react with panic. It froze, like it was holding its breath. That silence frightened him more than any predator. Alira stepped forward and touched the mossy ground. Her glowing markings dimmed, then brightened again, pulsing slowly. She wasn't just listening. She was communicating. Rin didn't understand it, but he sensed she was reaching into something ancient, something dangerous. "They won't attack now," she said, quietly. "They're watching." Rin stared at her. "Who are they?" She stood up slowly, brushing dust from her dark robes. "The guardians of this world. Machines, spirits, maybe both. They sleep until someone breaks the seal. Like when your ship tore the sky open. He didn't like riddles, he preferred facts, weapons, and clear threats. But now he was stuck on a planet with a woman who might be the key to survival, or the reason it all went wrong. They spent the night in the ruins, but neither of them slept much. The fire cracked quietly between them. Rin pretended not to notice that Alira hadn't blinked in hours. She just sat still, eyes on the trees, as if waiting for something, or someone to appear. By morning, the jungle returned to life. Birds with shimmering wings sang from the branches. Strange animals peeked from the brush. But the ruins behind them still hummed with energy, soft and steady like a heartbeat. They moved deeper into the forest, hoping to find clean water, or maybe a way to signal for help. Rin checked his wristcom, but it was fried from the crash. No signal, no GPS. He was off the grid. Alira suddenly stopped. She crouched beside a pool of dark water and pointed. Tracks. Huge three-toed impressions in the mud. Whatever made them was heavy, fast, and recent. They're hunting, she said. Us? Rin asked. Not yet, but they will. They followed. A small stream until it led to a waterfall and a hidden cave behind it. Inside, the stone walls were etched with glowing symbols. Alira ran her fingers along them, whispering softly. Rin stood at the entrance, keeping watch. He saw movement in the trees, a flicker of light too fast to follow. Something was circling them. He didn't fire. Not yet. When he turned back, Alira had activated something. A glowing orb rose from the cave floor, hovering between them. Images flickered inside it. Planets, stars, then humans. Battles. Ships burning. A war he hadn't seen before. What is this? He asked. A warning, she replied. Your kind awakened something far bigger than you understand. Rin frowned. We were just hired to bring you in. Said you were a spy. A threat. Alira smiled without humor. I was. But not to your people. To the ones who gave you that job. Rin felt something shift in his gut. Doubt. He hated doubt. They camped again near the cave. That night the jungle didn't stay quiet. A low growl rumbled from the shadows. Shapes moved. Not animals, not machines. Something between. Rin aimed his rifle into the dark. He could see glowing eyes, dozens of them. Alira stepped beside him, unarmed, calm. They won't hurt me, she said. But you? That depends on what you do next. Rin glanced at her, then back at the shadows. He didn't know if he could trust her. But he knew one thing for sure. He couldn't survive this world alone. Rin stood frozen as the glowing eyes stared back at him from the dark. He didn't move. He didn't breathe. His finger hovered near the rifle's trigger. But Alira stepped forward slowly, her hands open, her voice calm. They won't strike unless you do first, she said softly. The eyes blinked. Then, one by one, the shapes began to retreat into the forest, their growls fading like distant thunder. Rin lowered his weapon, but didn't relax. Whatever these things were, they weren't afraid of him. They respected her. When morning came, the air was thick with mist. The forest seemed to stretch endlessly. Rin climbed a rocky ledge nearby to look for higher ground. What he saw made his stomach twist. In the distance, a massive tower of black stone rose above the trees. Machines buzzed in the air around it. It wasn't alien, it was human tech, or something built by humans but long abandoned. Rin slid back down to Alira. I saw a structure. Something not natural. We should go. Hesitated. That place isn't safe. None of this is safe, he replied. But that might be our only chance to call for help. Alira touched the markings on her arm. They flickered weakly. If we go there, they'll notice. The real hunters. You mean the things last night weren't hunters? She looked at him. No, they were just scouts. Rin didn't argue. He checked his gear and started walking. Alira followed him without a word, but her eyes scanned every shadow. The journey took hours. Strange trees reached across the path like claws. Once, a bright blue snake with feathered fins lunged at them from a branch. Rin blasted it midair. Its body vanished in a burst of light, leaving behind only a sour scent. Alira crouched and picked up a tiny crystal shard from the ground where The creature died. They're testing you, she said. You're not just prey to them, you're something else. He didn't ask what that meant. He just kept walking. As they neared the tower, the forest ended. A wide clearing opened up with smooth black stone forming a perfect circle around the structure. At its center was a tall spire, pulsing with red light. Machines floated around it, scanning the air. Rin recognized the design, old war tech, from the Terran Syndicate abandoned years ago, but someone had powered it back up. This tech is human, he said. Alira stepped beside him. It was stolen, modified, twisted. They crept toward the tower. Rin kept low, moving between broken statues and fallen machinery. Alira moved like she belonged there, untouched by the sensors. Once inside, the structure opened into a vast chamber filled with screens and dormant pods, and in the middle, a large terminal pulsed with a heartbeat-like rhythm. Rin approached the terminal and pressed a button. It lit up, scanning his DNA. Access. Granted. He froze. What the hell? Alira's voice was quiet behind him. You've been marked since the moment you were born, bounty hunter. Before he could ask what she meant, a loud siren echoed through the tower. The screens came to life, showing surveillance feeds from around the planet. One of them zoomed in on their crash site. Ships were approaching, black, sleek, and silent. They found us, Rin said. Alira stepped close, her eyes glowing again. Then we run, but this time not as enemies. Rin didn't answer, but when he looked at her, he saw no chains, no mission, just another survivor. And something in him shifted. She grabbed his hand. Come on, human. You're not done surprising me yet. They ran from the tower, slipping through the shadows of ancient metal and twisted roots. Rin's boots slammed against stone while Alira moved like mist beside him. The sky had darkened again, but not because of night. It was the ships. 3 of them hovered above the jungle, black and silent, like vultures circling a dying prey. Rin knew those ships weren't rescue. They were trackers, killers, sent by whoever had given the bounty contract. Only now he realized the job had never been about justice. It had been about silence. And Alira wasn't just a target, she was a witness. As they disappeared back into the trees, the tower behind them exploded. The shockwave knocked them down. Heat kissed their backs. The spire crumbled in fire, taking with it the only terminal that had answered to Rin's DNA. Someone didn't want him asking questions anymore. Alira coughed and sat up. Her markings glowed dim red. They're clearing the evidence, she said. They know you accessed it. Who are they? Rin asked, wiping blood from his lip. She stared up at the burning sky. Your employers. The ones who built the syndicate. They're not just politicians, they're not even just human anymore. He narrowed his eyes. You're saying we're ruled by aliens? She looked at him. No. You're ruled by humans, who made deals with things older than time, and now you've seen too much. They ran for shelter deeper into the jungle. Rin's wristcom beeped. A weak signal flickered. Distress call detected. Not theirs. A civilian ship nearby had sent an emergency ping. He stopped. There's a ship, he said. Might be our way out. Alira looked unsure. It's bait, maybe. Or maybe it's hope. They moved carefully now, avoiding drones scanning from above. The jungle grew denser, but the air had changed. The plants looked mutated, pulsing with soft colors, like they were breathing. Rin didn't like it. At one point they came across a clearing full of bones, not animal bones, armor pieces, human and alien mixed together, all scorched. All arranged in a strange circular pattern, as if something had fed here, then decorated its kill. This planet is alive, Alira whispered. And it remembers. Rin shook his head. I didn't sign up for this. You didn't choose it, she replied. But something chose you. They reached a cliffside with a broken-down vessel hanging half into a ravine. It matched the distress signal. The hull was cracked but intact. Lights flickered inside. They entered through a side hatch. Inside, it was quiet. Dead quiet. Rin raised his rifle. Alira stayed close behind. They passed empty crew quarters, dried blood trails, and flickering warning lights. In the cockpit, a pilot slumped over the controls, long dead, but next to him was a blinking comms panel, still active, still transmitting. Rin moved toward it. Before he could touch it, Alira grabbed his arm. "Wait," she pointed at the walls. They weren't just steel. Alien roots had grown into them. Strange symbols had formed on the screen, whispering words in a language neither of them spoke aloud, but Alira understood it. "They've linked the ship to the jungle, to the Watchers." "We can't use this?" Rin asked. "We can, but not as a message." She placed her hand on the panel. It flared. Then the voice came. Ancient, deep, not male or female. "You awaken what was sealed. Are you the destroyer or the balance?" Rin stepped forward. "We're survivors." The voice paused, then survive. The ship's floor shifted. A hidden compartment opened beneath them. Inside, a strange artifact glowed. It wasn't tech, it was alive. Breathing. Beating like a heart. Alira backed away slowly. "This was never about me, it was about that." Rin stared at the artifact, his reflection warped across its surface. And in that reflection, he didn't see a bounty hunter. He saw something else. The artifact pulsed like a living star, glowing softly in the center of the ship's floor. Rin felt it pulling at him, not with force, but with memory. As if it recognized something in his blood. Or maybe it was planting something new. Alira didn't speak at first. She stood back, her markings flickering between blue and violet, a color Rin hadn't seen before. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear but from something deeper, reverence or maybe regret. "What is this thing?" Rin asked, his voice barely above a whisper. She stepped closer and knelt beside it. A seed of the first flame, older than all empires. It sleeps waiting for someone who can carry it, protect it, or burn everything. Rin looked down at the artifact. Why would they keep it on a human ship? "They didn't," Alira said. "This ship crashed here long ago, but the jungle called it, just like it called us." Rin crouched beside her. The seed throbbed with heat but didn't burn. He felt like he was standing in the center of a quiet storm. Something waited inside the seed, watching, listening. Suddenly, the screen above them flickered again. The ancient voice returned. "You carry blood of the awakened, he who survived the cleansing, he who betrayed war." Alira's eyes widened. "They're talking about your ancestor." "I don't have an ancestor like that," Rin said. She looked at him sharply. "You don't know who you are, but they do." The ship trembled. Outside, the jungle roared. The sky cracked with lightning that didn't belong to any weather system. Something was coming. The hunters, the ones who wanted the seed, silenced. Forever. "We need to move," Rin said. Alira nodded, but her eyes stayed locked on him. "If you take the seed, it will bind to you. Forever." Rin didn't hesitate. He reached forward and touched it. The moment his skin met its surface, the world exploded. Not with light or sound, but with memory. He saw visions. A city of glass in the stars. A man who looked like him, holding the seed against a dying sun. A war that consumed systems. Betrayal from within. The seed lost. And now, found again. When Rin opened his eyes, he was lying on the ground. The seed was gone. But something was burning on his chest. An imprint, shaped like the artifact, pulsing. Under his skin, Alira helped him sit up. "It chose you." "I didn't ask for this," he said. "None of us did," she replied. They left the ship through a broken hatch. The jungle had changed. The trees bowed toward Rin. The vines parted in his path. Animals watched from above, but didn't make a sound. Alira walked beside him now, not as a prisoner, not even as an alien, but as something closer. A partner, a witness. As they made their way through the mist, a deep hum filled the air. Not from the jungle, from above. The black ships had returned. This time, they weren't searching, they were hunting. Rin and Alira ducked into a trench. The ship scanned the ground, then began releasing drones. He counted a dozen. Maybe more. All moving with purpose. "We can't outrun them," he said. Alira looked at him. "Then we don't run." He turned toward her. "You said they're afraid of the seed." She smiled slightly. "Not afraid, terrified." He flexed his hands. The burning symbol on his chest responded, glowing brighter. "Then let's show them what they should be afraid of." They stood together in the shadow of ancient trees, human and alien, hunter and hunted, and now, something far more powerful than either of them had been alone. The drones landed like metal insects, their legs clicking across the jungle floor. They spread out in a circle, surrounding the trench where Rin and Alira hid. Red lights scanned the trees. One of the drones paused, its lens hovering inches above a glowing leaf. Rin clenched his jaw. His hand hovered over the rifle, but his chest burned again, the seed's imprint reacting. The glow spread to his fingers. He didn't understand how, but something inside him had changed. Alira placed a hand on his arm. "Not yet. Let them come closer." He nodded. For once, he followed her lead. There was trust now, real trust. The first drone crawled toward their hiding spot. Alira stepped out slowly, hands raised. The drone aimed at her, charging its weapon. Rin stood behind her, the symbol on his chest glowing like a beacon. The drone paused. Its lights blinked rapidly. Then it powered down and fell to the ground like a puppet with its strings cut. One by one, the other drones turned toward Rin. He raised his hand without thinking. The glow in his palm pulsed once. All the drones collapsed. Alira exhaled, her voice soft. "It listens to you." "I didn't do anything," he whispered. "You didn't need to." They moved quickly now. The jungle had cleared a path again. The forest, once wild and deadly, now seemed to respect them. Rin still didn't understand the rules of this place, but he knew one thing. The enemy feared him now. They reached an open ridge. In the distance, the black ships hovered near the edge of a massive crater filled with glowing stone pillars. This was the heart of the jungle, the final place. The one even Alira hadn't dared approach before. Rin stared down at it. "That's where they're going." "They want to destroy the core," Alira said. "Where the seed came from, where the balance lives." "And we stop them?" She looked at him. "You stop them. I guide you." They descended slowly. The jungle changed with every step. The trees grew taller, older, their bark like iron. Strange symbols flickered across vines and rocks. Even the air felt heavier. As they reached the edge of the crater, a memory returned to Rin. Not his own. The man in the vision, the one who looked like him, standing at this same spot, facing a war fleet, holding the seed. He had failed. "Saw this before," Rin said. "It all happened already." "No," Alira whispered. "It waited to happen again. But this time, the outcome can change." They hid behind a stone arch as troops disembarked from the ships. Tall, armored figures, faces hidden by masks. They carried heavy weapons and moved in formation. One of them stepped forward. His armor was different, red and black. A commander, he spoke loud and clear. "Bring me the traitor and the seed bearer, alive if possible, burn the rest." Alira gripped Rin's arm. "That's Corin, he was supposed to be dead." "Who is he?" "My bond maiden before I ran." Rin stared at her. Alira didn't look away. "He was chosen for me by the council. I escaped. That's why they marked me for death." Rin felt something harden inside him. Not just anger, something personal. "What happens if they take you back?" "I disappear," she said. "Or worse, become their weapon." "Not happening." Rin stepped out from the stone arch, rifle in one hand, fire glowing in the other. The soldiers turned toward him. Alira followed without hesitation. She didn't carry a weapon. She didn't need one anymore. They stood together, side by side, facing the enemy that had chased them across stars. Whatever came next, they would face it as one. The moment Rin stepped into the open, the soldiers raised their rifles. But no one fired. The glow from his chest, bright and steady, made them hesitate. It wasn't just light. It was authority. The kind that didn't need to shout to be obeyed. Corrin stepped forward. His helmet slid back, revealing a sharp, angular face marked with battle scars and cold pride. His eyes locked onto Alira, then flicked to Rin. "So this is your choice," Corrin said. "A fragile creature from a dying world." Alira didn't flinch. "He chose me first." Corrin's lips twitched. "Then you'll watch him break." He raised his hand. Before the soldiers could fire, the ground beneath them trembled. Vines erupted from the jungle floor, wrapping around weapons and legs. Creatures with glowing eyes emerged from the trees, beasts the jungle had hidden until now. And above them, the sky cracked open with energy, not from ships, but from the seed's presence in Rin. He wasn't sure how, but he could feel it all. The jungle's breath, the pulse of the forest, the memories of every step they had taken. It wasn't just giving him power, it was waiting for his decision. Rin raised both hands, the light shot from his chest in thin waves. One by one, the weapons the soldiers held melted into their arms, not burned, absorbed, rendered useless. Corrin shouted orders. "Kill the human." 3 soldiers rushed forward. Rin dodged the first, slammed his fist into the second's chest, and knocked the third back with a burst of raw energy from his palm. He didn't need his rifle anymore. The seed had become part of him. Behind him, Alira faced her former people. Some hesitated. Others aimed at her. But she stepped forward with her arms wide. "I am not your enemy," she said. "But I will not be your weapon." Some lowered their guns. Others fired. The forest reacted instantly. Branches twisted and caught the energy blasts. Roots dragged the attackers into the ground. Rin reached Corrin just as the commander lifted a plasma blade. Their weapons clashed, light versus heat, power versus precision. "You were never meant to carry that," Corrin snarled. "You are not chosen, you are infected." Rin gritted his teeth. "Then why does it listen to me?" He kicked Corrin back. The blast sent the alien spinning into a stone pillar, cracking it in half. All around them, the battle slowed. Soldiers began dropping weapons. Drones deactivated mid-air. The jungle stood still, waiting. Rin walked to where Corrin lay wounded. His armor sparked and his blade flickered weakly. "You'll never survive the burden," Corrin hissed. "The seed will burn you from the inside." Rin looked down. "Then I'll burn with it. But you don't get to decide who's worthy anymore." He turned away. Corrin screamed and lunged, but Alira was already there. Her blade, one Rin hadn't seen her draw before, pierced Corrin's chest in a single silent motion. He fell without another word. The crater quieted. Rin turned to her. "You saved me." Alira looked into his eyes. "No. You saved yourself. I just chose to stand beside you." They didn't speak for a long moment. The forest around them slowly began to return to normal. The sky cleared. The glow on Rin's chest dimmed to a warm, steady shimmer. He stepped closer. "I was sent to bring you in," he said. "Now I don't want to leave without you." Alira reached out, placing her hand over the mark on his chest. "Then don't," she whispered. And for the first time since they crashed, Rin smiled. Not as a hunter, not as a warrior, but as someone who had finally found something real. The crater was silent now, its ancient energy humming gently beneath their feet. The black ships above began to rise slowly into the sky. Without their leader, without control, they no longer had purpose. Rin and Alira stood in the center of it all, bathed in soft golden light from the rising sun. The jungle, once wild and deadly, was calm. Beasts returned to their hiding places. Trees straightened. Even the ground seemed to breathe easier. The seed's presence had awakened something, but now with Rin, it had found peace. Alira knelt beside Corrin's body. She placed a small crystal on his chest. It shimmered, then melted into the armor. Rin watched her. "You respected him?" I pitied him, she replied. He was born into a cage. He never tried to escape it. She stood and turned to him. But you weren't even part of our world, and still you changed it. Rin shrugged. I didn't mean to. That's why it worked. They walked together to the edge of the crater. Far in the distance, Rin saw a rescue beacon blinking from the wreckage of one of the fallen enemy drones. Now that the interference was gone, it had managed to ping the orbiting satellites. Help was coming. Alira looked up at the sky, then back at Rin. You could leave now. Could, he said. But should I? She didn't answer. Rin sat down on a rock, watching the light flicker on his hand. You said the seed would burn me. I was wrong, Alira said, joining him. It didn't burn you. It healed. Something inside you. He nodded slowly. I don't know what I am anymore. You're more than a bounty hunter. Maybe more than human now. And what about you? She smiled. Still wanted by my people, still confused by yours, but maybe for the first time, I feel free. He reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. Above them, a rescue ship finally broke through the clouds. A quiet hum signaled its landing. A door opened slowly and uniformed medics rushed out shouting orders. Rin stood but didn't move forward. One of the officers spotted him and called his name. Rin Talon, we've been tracking the crash site for days. Are you injured? Shook his head. Not anymore. Another soldier glanced at Alira. Is that the Zavari target? Rin stepped in front of her. No, that case is closed. The soldier hesitated. Orders said she was dangerous. She saved my life. Twice. The officer looked uncertain. And your report? Rin smiled. You'll have it when I'm ready. They backed off, unsure, but didn't press further. The medics turned. Their focus elsewhere, scanning the area, securing equipment, treating minor injuries. No one tried to separate them. As Rin and Alira walked toward the ship, the jungle behind them slowly closed the path. The crater vanished behind a wall of mist and leaves, as if hiding again until the next time. Inside the ship, Rin was offered a seat, water, and a data pad. He ignored them all. He just looked at Alira. So what now? He asked. We run again? She teased. He shook his head. No more running. This time we walk. Together. She took his hand, her glowing markings matching the light on his chest. And as the ship lifted into the sky, carrying them away from the wild world below, both of them knew this was not the end. It was the beginning of something no one in the galaxy could predict. Not war, not peace, but a bond that had changed everything.